Hey everyone, happy Monday. I don't know when I'll post this, but today that I'm recording it is Monday. I am headed to go and get the kiddos. I'm just leaving Nashville. I thought I would post an update or record some content. I don't even know if I'm going to post this, but just an update with regards to the person I was working with, person A, where there was just a very uncomfortable situation. I love how this car is just right in the middle of the road. Okay, move forward. Okay. I will edit that out. Anyway, hi everyone. I'm leaving work, headed to go get the kiddos, and thought I would post an update with regards to today, person A, as I called the person in my video. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I can link the video at the end. But I had a very emotional Friday. I do not like to take my emotions at work. I personally, it's a corporate office. I personally don't like showing my emotions, and I would rather just deal with facts and data. My emotions got the better of me because this person, we're coworkers. We also are just our friends in general, not where I see this person outside of work, nothing to that effect. But some people who you just at work, it's, hi, how are you? Oh, good. And then there are other people who you know about them, more about them. Anyway. So I had a very difficult conversation on Friday, breakdown at the office, and then breakdown in my car afterwards, which I videotaped it. And so today was my first day back. I was uncomfortable being in the office. Uncomfortable. I did sit with my team. I was uncomfortable sitting with the team. And I really did not talk to that person in all reality, and just being that person wasn't really at their desk, and then I had a couple of calls that I was on, so we did not connect, which is not normal, but again, they weren't at their desk that much. Anyway, with that being said, I really, this past, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, I was really thinking about it. And after Nate's passing, so this ties into kind of my emotional health and the emotional state I was in on Friday. So after Nate's passing, I did talk to the benefits department, and actually I didn't really talk to them until late of 2024. I think it was November, December of 2024. And I was really at a mental breaking point where it's very difficult with regards to everything that I have been through in the past. Now it's been about 1.5 years, but I go from working from home and having a husband to all of a sudden within a day he's out of our lives. Granted, we have had this happen before. However, he's ripped out of our lives, and it's his 5th relapse, but his actual 3rd big time relapse, where he hit me with a car, and that's the first time it had happened. And then he obviously was found guilty of domestic abuse. So it's like the largest relapse I would say he's ever had. They got bigger, honestly, after each one, after the big ones, talking about the 3 big ones, they got bigger and bigger. And this was the largest one, and obviously he passed away. I feel like I'm gonna cry even just explaining this right now. It's so hard to talk about because I'm a single mom, and not that we would have gotten back together. We definitely would not have gotten back together, but I'm the only income provider for the family. He did not leave a will. He did not leave anything, life insurance. There's nothing. And I took 3 days of bereavement leave off, and then I took an additional 7 days, and so all of that was paid. But in all reality, that's a lot of mental stuff to deal with. So it's one thing to deal with an addicted spouse, and like right after, 2 weeks after he relapsed and hit me with a car, 2 weeks later, I was told I had to relocate or I would not have a job. It would be considered voluntary resignation if I did not relocate to a hub and return to the office 3 days a week. And I was hired virtually. And I asked for an exception, not that I would have moved. I 100% would have moved. I just wanted to wait until the divorce was finalized. Granted, it all worked out for my benefit in the end. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out my restraining order, domestic abuse. I don't remember what I titled it, but there's a 3-part series. But it definitely has restraining order in the title. Go check that out and you'll understand how I was able to move. And honestly, it was a benefit that we did move. But still, I had to move, and I had, according to my attorney at the time, and for my safety, I had to do it very quickly and not tell people. And so I've been living this dark, hidden life for about a year, because then he found us in Tennessee and started harassing us here. And then my company moved us again so that I could be further away from him due to the domestic abuse and the harassment. And that's a whole nother situation. But anyway, after he passed away, we did move back to Tennessee. A lot had to do with work, and then also a lot had to do with also the school system that was better supportive of Daniel, etc. Anyway, won't even go into that. At some point, I'll go into public school systems and highly gifted children and what you need to look for. And anyway, there was a lot I've had to navigate over the year, and I feel as though I've been pretty much keeping it together for most of it, but I'm losing my cookies here. Meaning not with my family, but just it's a lot to go from having a husband to him all of a sudden hitting me with a car and being out of our lives, to 2 weeks later being told I had to move or I wouldn't have a job, and I had no other income, so I had to move. Then within a month and a half, we relocated. I had to find schools. We relocated. Then within 4 months, within 3 months of relocating, he found us in our new place in Tennessee, our exact address. And the police could not find him. There were 4 warrants issued for his arrest. My car's driving itself, by the way. Just so everybody knows, my car is driving itself. Anyway, 4 warrants for his arrest, and then the police could not find him. And then he continued to harass us, which is why there were 4 warrants. The harassments just continued and continued. So much to a point where the police told me to keep documenting everything, because they were going to actually start they were looking at a criminal harassment charge. So then, after 4 months being in Tennessee, we pick up and we move to Arizona very quickly. I just can't believe all this stuff that we've been through. The children and I. Anyway, and so we pick up and we move to Arizona, because I knew with his addiction there was no way that he could make it to Arizona, because he has to drink all the time, and there's no way he would make it on an airplane with the intoxication, being that intoxicated, and there's no way he could drive. that far without getting a DUI or getting pulled over or something happening. So that being said, and then we were in Arizona, and just about a month after we moved, his body was found. And so really 2 weeks after we moved, around 2 weeks, we don't know the exact death, but time of death, but around, a month and a half we were there, and then we found his body was found. And then about a week after we moved, he had passed away, we assume. That's the assumption, because that's the last data I see on his phone. The body was too badly decomposed to actually pinpoint a date of death. So, with all of that being said, my mental state has been slightly fragile, and I'm trying to perform at work, which is very stressful. And so I broke down on Friday at work. Granted, this is not the first breakdown I've had. It's the first breakdown in person to somebody live, versus I've definitely had breakdowns after I've been off meetings where it's just too much. It's too much. There's so much pressure with regards to just the economy, and you have to stay where you're at in your job because it is what it is. It's really hard to find another job. And I know people that have been laid off and have had to take lower paying jobs because they just can't afford to not be unemployed. I also know there was somebody who was a director at a large tech company who was unemployed for a year and now works where I work at half the level the person was at, because that's all they could find. So the economy is not the best job-wise. And so that being said, it's really hard. And with all the layoffs, which have happened within the company I work for, it's stressful, and you don't know. You have to produce, you have to deliver as well. And so there are limited resources and high expectations for deliverables and unalignment, because our customers are under a different VP, and honestly the whole org structure makes no sense to me. This happened about 6 months into me working at the company I work for. There was the layoffs started, the big layoffs, and then a reorg, and it's hard. It's really hard, and there are so many expectations, and I'm trying to work towards the next level because I want to be able to provide for the family, for the future. I have not had a raise we're going on year 3 of no raise, base salary raise. My income level has dropped because of this, meaning I had a sign-on bonus for the first few years, and then so interesting. So let me get into that, right? Because the sign-on bonus, I shouldn't expect that my increase is going to increase. My salary is going to increase. So I had a sign-on bonus for the first few years, and then the recruiter has to sell, which I didn't know. They have to sell the job because they also get a bonus on how many people they get in. And this is what my manager told me. I've never verified this, but I was guaranteed year-over-year increase in salary. Now, this was verbal, note to self, get it in writing in the future. I also was hired virtually, and now I live in a completely different state. So, that being said, all of this happened, and I had this expectation because I was told of this year-over-year increase, and I did ask questions, and the answers validated that this would happen, but it didn't happen, and so it's actually been a year-over-year decrease. And so it's very frustrating. On top of that, it's stressful because I need to work to pay for the family, but I also need a mental break. I just need a mental break to find out what in the world happened. I did have, which I finally told my mom and sister, but I've had seizures in the past when I sleep. I had one when we moved back to Tennessee this last time, so about a month ago I did have a seizure. I don't remember a lot about it, but I definitely had a seizure. I am on medications for it, but I know a lot has to it. There's just so much mentally going on in my head. I'm having so many nightmares, vivid nightmares, where I wake up and I feel as though it's true. I feel like Nate is there, that he's harassing us. It's almost as if I'm reliving my experience all over again. I don't know what that means. I need to get on my therapist books, is what I'm basically stating here. So I don't know what that means, but I do know under high traumatic events, my therapist had mentioned it does cause seizures. So I have all these things happening, and I just need a mental clarity break. And then Friday happened, and I mentioned I'm single. I care what a director thinks, because I am trying to work on a promotion because I want to provide for the family, and I was told that was unprofessional. And I'm exhausted. There's so much happening within our org right now, like beyond, it's stuff I can't even talk about because I'm under confidentiality agreement. And there have been things I've reported, cases, issues that I've reported that there are open investigations on, and I just need a mental break, to take a breath, to find out what in the world is going on, to get finances in order, to get the house in order. I don't know, to get my mental brain in order, I guess is what I'm saying. It's not even all the other stuff. I just need mentally to get myself in order and to figure out how in the world I'm going to move forward and lead the family. And yes, God is involved in all of this. I just need a break is what I need. I don't want to break from my children. I just want to break from all the demands with work. And that being said, I had no idea about this, but when last year, towards the end of the year, when I talked to somebody from the bereavement team, they did mention that I can go ahead and take an LOA, and I would get 60% of my pay, which I definitely cannot afford. But now I'm actually reconsidering that and just doing it, and I'll have to figure it out. I don't know, but my health, in general, I'm out of whack with regards to my eating, my working out, all of that. Everything is out of whack. And I know it all leads to my mental stability or lack thereof. And I just feel like I really need a break. So with that being said, though, I have to submit medical documentation documentation. Or I can take it unpaid. In all reality, I can take it unpaid. So that's another option. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just know I was on the phone with HR and they did provide my options, and they did provide me with everything that I need to go ahead and get everything submitted. I do need to meet with my doctor again to see if they will provide the documentation, which I'm sure that they will. My therapist provide the documentation needed for the actual leave, and it's the paid leave. I can definitely do an unpaid leave. Being the victim of domestic abuse, I can take an unpaid leave, but I have to, like, I can't not have money anyway. I'm contemplating all of that right now. And I can actually go and just submit the leave right away and then see if I can get on my therapist's books and see if she'll provide me the documentation. And then just take the 60% pay. So I also can look up the state laws to see what the state provides me with. Not sure what they would provide me with, but anyway, I feel a lot better. I'm just an emotional train wreck. And by the way, I'm hungry. On top of all of it, I moved up in a dose. My weight is up. I moved up in a dose and I'm hungry. It's so interesting because these doses are, I'm still getting actually hungry. I'm not getting the, honestly, I don't even like feeling hungry. I would rather just eat because I have to than to get hungry, which is very odd to say, but it's because when I'm hungry, I'll eat everything. And one thing with any type of binge eating is that I cannot, or somebody who is binge eating, you can't, like, you have to eat. An alcoholic, you don't have to drink alcohol to survive. If you're eating, binge eating, you have to eat to survive. And so I just, in a way, wish I could just eat the same thing every single day and not have any type of cravings. Just eat it. Just eat whatever that is. Eat the same thing at the same time. Maybe I just do that. I don't know. Maybe I do that for the food challenge. I already talked about the food challenge this morning. Now I'm talking about a different topic because I got all my crying and my tears out. So my food challenge this morning was that, as I mentioned, that I would track all of my food, that I would do my workout, and yeah. And I just realized after all of that, I really have to take a deep breath and relax for a second, because after all of that, I realized I talked about a schedule that I want to get on, and I am going to have to work later tonight because I focused on talking to HR instead of working. See what I mean? I run out of time, and I don't know too. So we used to be 3 days a week, and now we're 5 days a week in the office. It's just hard. The whole thing is hard. It's hard. I'm tired. It's hard. Pardon me. I'm just ready to take time off and relax and cuddle the kids and give them hugs and kisses. Whoa. so glad my car drives itself because it sees everything I really don't see. But it told me like a car just... I love how cars just get right in front of you. So anyway, that's the end of my story. I think I'm good now. And so more to come. We'll see if I end up actually filing anything. If I do, I'll file it probably tonight or tomorrow. I need to see if I can get on my therapist books and see if she can provide me, if I can get a meeting, a date scheduled with her. Otherwise, I guess I could go to my regular doctor, or my doctor I have a doctor in Arizona too that probably would be happy to fill everything out for me, but I have to fly to go see her. So, anyway. That being said, I'm almost at the kids' school, so I'm going to get off here, but hopefully everyone has a good day. Thanks for listening. Bye.